Hello everyone, my name is Dean, the RMT tutor, and this channel is here to help you find success on your journey to becoming an RMT. What I hope to convey in this video is a framework that you can use to help prepare for your practical exams, primarily the ones that will be involving muscle palpation and landmarking, though you could probably apply these ideas to other exams. The way that we're going to do this is take a look at the two fundamental ideas and break them down into the understandings that are required to do well on the exam. Since this is more of a framework, we won't be going into too much detail on specific muscles. If there is something that you're struggling with that's more specific, feel free to leave a comment down below and also subscribe. I'm going to be creating more videos on this and many other topics, and hopefully some of those you'll find helpful as well. Getting into it, we're going to look at the two most important things to have when you're getting prepared for your exam. The first thing is your knowledge, and the next thing is the practical skills alongside that. We want to make sure we have a strong foundation of the knowledge before we go to practicing with the practical. So you can think of the knowledge as being the solid foundation to which your practical skills sit on top of. If you don't have the knowledge, then it's going to be an uphill battle. Let's break down the knowledge then, shall we? When you're checking to see if you have the right information locked in your head, you can take a look at these three aspects. The first one for all of your muscles is that you should obviously know your origins, your insertions, and actions. The third thing is that you should understand the pathway of the muscle. And lastly, you should understand the depth of the muscle. Pathway meaning, does it just run from the origin straight to the insertion? Does it go through certain structures along the way? And the last one, depth, is it a superficial or is it a deep muscle? Your origin, we'll just take a muscle, for example, the biceps, the short head of the biceps, that is. We know as we're checking our knowledge that the origin is the coracoid process. And it's nice to be able to verbalize this. It's good to know that it's the coracoid process. But as we're moving down through that funnel of knowledge, we want to make sure that we understand it at multiple layers. This is going to help ensure that we don't blank on the exam and that things don't fall out of our head. The more things we can attach to one idea, the better we can recall it. What I mean by that is this one idea or piece of information is the coracoid process. The coracoid process we have associated with the short head of the biceps, but the coracoid process is also a part of the scapula. So we need to ensure that these two ideas are linked. On the scapula, is the coracoid process on the anterior side, the posterior side? Is it more medial, lateral? We need to know this so that we can accurately landmark it. And the coracoid process is more so on the anterior side and the lateral side of the scapula. Could we take this further? Sure. What other muscles attach to the coracoid process? The pec minor, coracobrachialis. The scapula is a part of the axial or appendicular skeleton. Now we know that this short head of the biceps originates off the coracoid process of the scapula, which is roughly on the anterior lateral side, and it is basically located right here. Now that we have the knowledge, when we get to the practical side of things, we can really just focus on what we're doing with our hands and landmarking, as opposed to having to move back to the knowledge step and refamiliarize ourselves, which will happen, but you want to start with the foundation of the knowledge. You'll go through this process for the origin, for the insertion, and then list out all the actions. The pathway of the muscle, the biceps basically runs more or less straight down to the insertion, but if you needed to open your anatomy app of choice and take a look at this, it would be a great idea to do so, as well as checking in on the depth of the muscle. Is it superficial? Is it deep? Is it in between certain structures? If you're able to answer all of these questions, you have the knowledge you need. The practical side of things can be broken down into roughly 4 aspects. One is the positioning, and that is both yourself as well as the patient. Are they going to be seated, supine, prone? What will give you the best access to the structure? You want to ensure that you can palpate the full length of the muscle from origin to insertion, as well as the correct depth. So if you're applying a little bit of pressure to the skin, you're essentially saying that the muscle is superficial versus really trying to palpate a deeper structure will visibly look different to the examiner. So ensure that the depth looks correct as well as you're palpating the length of the muscle going from the origin to the insertion. You want to be able to accurately demonstrate or on the body get them to activate the correct action of the muscle. Lastly, although this maybe should have gone earlier in the list before here, you want to make sure that you can landmark the structures. So for each of your O's in your eyes, ensure that you know how to landmark those structures so that you can get a feel for not just landmarking when you have to do bony structures themselves, but also for your hands to be guided when you're at the start and the end of a muscle. Taking this all together, if you're able to answer these questions and have a solid foundation of knowledge, and you're able to know where you want to position someone for palpation, know the correct depth your hand should be at, and the length following the muscle, this will give you a very strong foundation to perform your exams on. Again, we didn't go into too much detail on specific muscles, and in the future, we may even do some demonstration videos where we can see some of these principles in action. But I hope that you found some of this valuable, that it'll ease some stress and hopefully help you perform better on your exam.